Afternoon, I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone studios. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings have agreed to terms on a market-setting 4-year deal worth $140 million with $110 million in guaranteed money. It makes the 24-year-old the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history. The Tennessee Titans will be on the field for minicamp this week on the practice field Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. College baseball, Tennessee, after sweeping the Knoxville Regional, awaits the winner between East Carolina and Evansville, which is happening now. Winner moves on to play Tennessee this weekend in Knoxville. It is now East Carolina 5, Evansville 2, ECU with 2 runners on and 2 outs at the plate at the top of the 5th inning. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Greetings, Nash Vegas. I'm Brad Hopkins. He's Blaine Bishop. You got us till 3 o'clock. A lot to unpack on this Monday, Blaine.
I can't hear you.
How's your first Monday of June going so far?
Man, it was a good, relaxing weekend. I was a little rainy, so kind of canceled out going to the park there with 92Q. But, yeah, man, it was good to kind of get back on my feet. I was still recovering from the bye, so that kind of got me back in the mode. Yeah, except that my belly was messed up this morning. But I don't know what happened.
I really didn't think you were going to share that on the air.
Yeah. You asked me.
You're right. I did ask you.
So I've been up since 4 today. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty good, man. Can't complain.
Good.
Yeah. What about yourself, man? What did you do? Anything interesting, or you kind of relaxed too? What did you do?
No, I went to a car show this weekend.
Oh, you went to? Yeah. I know you're big on cars, right?
Yeah, man. It was called the Jimmy B and Fast Freddy's Cruise In out of White Bluff.
Oh,
a lot of old schools, classics, and some pretty unique rat rides, that kind of stuff.
Did you get one? You didn't get one?
No, I was actually going to bring one of my cars out there, but it was raining, like you just said, the rain during this weekend. I wasn't a diehard to have taken one of mine out there before and put it under a tent. But either way, it's always cool to go to those events. Like, have you ever been to Cars and Coffee? You ever heard of that?
No. I'm not real big on
car stuff. So every first Saturday of the month, the car enthusiasts get together out there at the National Super Speedway and just kind of hang out.
That's what it is. Why don't they get some cars together there at Cool Springs at the movie theater?
They used to do that. That's the same thing.
That's how I used to go to that. Yeah. So that's the same thing. Yeah, I thought it was always interesting. I'd drive through there or walk through there, but park and then walk through. Yeah, I'm always interested.
So I always love some cars.
Yeah, so you dabble into like rehabbing cars and stuff, or classics?
Love it, man. That's what me and the oldest are doing. We like getting the cars together and making them unique because a car is an extension of you. You know what I mean? It's like it says a lot about you, how you keep your car, whether you clean it all the time, whether you just kind of eat out of it all the time, whether you work out of it all the time, whether it's just for recreation. A car is an extension of you. And we like putting them together to make them unique. Like some people like their own stamp on stuff. You know what I mean? Like different colors, things that stand out about a vehicle. So we always love doing that kind of stuff. And I've been doing that for years. I don't know how many cars I've sold, guys that like you that I played with that just wanted
I haven't gotten a car from you. What
I know you had.
Because a car for me is just get me to A to B.
Right. And for you,
I keep it nice and clean. But I probably look like somebody's grandpa.
You kept that green Camry clean back in the day, back in the 90s. Was that your first brand new car you ever bought?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, brand new. I had a Renault Encore in college that I bought, worked 3 jobs, and kind of the muffler and the interior kind of dropped. And so I kept
the headliner dropped on you?
Yeah, it did. It did. And then the passenger window broke, and so I had tape up there keep it up. So, I got a Toyota Camry, after I was freeloading up with you for a little while. Got to save up a little bit of money.
No, you weren't freeloading. You picked up a bill or two.
Yeah, I did. What did I pay you a month? I don't know.
I don't remember
I
what you paid.
$300, but I don't know if it was that.
Bill. Didn't you pay the power bill?
Oh, yeah.
I think you did. I think you paid the power bill.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I was able to save money there. It was my $25,000 signing bonus.
Yeah. So you're going to hear
after taxes 11.
You got more than Bruce Matthews got back in his day.
No,
yes,
definitely
you
not.
did. He got 14 grand in a Cadillac, bro.
Oh, talking about his rookie year? Oh, did he? Oh, well, that was in the 80s. That's the mid-80s.
That's what I'm saying.
Man.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a living legend.
And we're in an era now where we're talking about Justin Jefferson setting the non-quarterback rookie scale, right? Or non-quarterback pay scale with what, 100 and something guaranteed of a $140 million contract.
Yeah, so it's $35 million a year, right?
I did that once.
Oh. You did what?
I was the highest paid non-quarterback by position in the NFL. Yeah.
Non-quarterback.
Yeah.
What was that?
Left tackle. Well, back in the day, it was.
Well, I mean, peanuts. I know it was peanuts to this today, but what was
it? Like $36 million or something like that.
Guaranteed?
No, heck no.
Oh, okay. I
don't think guaranteed. It's probably like maybe 12 of it was or something like that. None of these contracts that we're seeing today, though.
Yeah, it's totally different. The league has grown, and that's what you like to see. See the numbers get there. That's kind of interesting. You know, you see receivers at 35, quarterbacks at 50. I mean, it literally in 10 years, the quarterback's going to be a $100 million a year player.
On average, huh?
On average. It's just, that's kind of interesting. I don't know.
Shouldn't that be indicative of the model itself? If the model is making billions because television is making that kind of money off of it, then why wouldn't you break them off some?
I don't know because... during our era, and it's the same thing where a guy becomes a free agent after another guy gets a big contract. But to me, there should be some form of tier, and I don't know what that is. I'm not smart enough to come up with what it should be. But a player that's a good player, and let's use quarterback because that's where it all starts anyway, can't be making more than the best quarterback in the National Football League.
Okay,
like that just that shouldn't happen. Let's say an average good. Let's say Ryan Tannehill. His contract is up. Let's say in the middle of his career, he's a good starting quarterback, but he's not an elite quarterback. And all of a sudden, he makes more than Peyton Manning. Like that shouldn't happen. Like to me, it should be some form of a tier system. And I only think about the NBA where they have the max and then the super max. That's how I'm not saying that's how the NFL should do, but just something else. When collective bargaining agreement come on, I don't know. I thought it was real weird when players on our team was making more than the living legend Bruce Matthews. I thought that the system isn't correct, and they corrected it, right? But I think they're still, they're going to try to control. Just remember this salary escalation. And it'd be interesting. I think that's what the players are actually trying to do with the Players Association, with them trying to say we won't start till June for training camp. I think they're trying to leverage of getting more 50% or more of the pie, of the overall pie, than where they're at today. So I think that's where it's going. So I don't know what that means about the salaries. Maybe they get more. I have no idea. But we shall see. It's good for the players, though. There's no doubt about it.
On Sundays, I do a show on Sirius with Bill Leckus, and yesterday we were going through the schedule for the NFC East. And it's funny how different the prices are for tickets between contests. Like, look at the Cowboys at Cleveland Browns to start the season on Sunday, September 8th. That ticket's going for as low as $189. That's the low end, right? Mm-hmm. Probably because it's Deshaun Watson versus Dak Prescott versus the next weekend, them hosting the New Orleans Saints.
Who's
tickets
them?
are $52. The Cowboys. Hosting. So you see, so I bring that up because you can definitely see how quarterback or even that matchup against other high-powered quarterbacks can even set the price tag for going to see those games. So you are, in essence, going to see a player, even though you might be rooting for a team, just by even how they charge you at the ticket.
Well, that's the NFL. That's what they sell are the quarterbacks and the matchups. When in theory, the quarterbacks never even play against each other.
They really don't.
Right. They playing against the defense. But
that's why we put so much emphasis on scoring points, I think, because that then does tell us a little bit in a tail of the tape, well, gosh, he put up 4 touchdowns versus he only put up 3 touchdowns, that kind of deal. I guess we kind of get measured in that sense, even though they're not going against the same defense, right? It's not like they start over doing the same things from the same start in the field. There's a lot that plays into that.
Yeah. So, that's what they do to sell their league, which is probably the best thing to do. So, but... it'll be interesting to see where this all goes here, 3, 4, 5 years when the CBA or the contract or agreements are up and see what direction they go. But I'm fascinated because it's to see how the game has evolved from our time when we first got in the league to when we were in the league to now we're out of the league, and how it just continues to grow at this meteoric rate is really fascinating for the money that they're making now. And, I just hope the players are appreciative for what the guys did before them, let alone us, making sure that we appreciate who put the ground roots for us to even get the first big CBA in '93. So, yeah, man, it's
haven't gotten a good gauge on where you are on that, though. I mean, kind of, are you like when you're talking about, you're mentioning the fact that Justin Jefferson was getting 9 figures guaranteed. I mean, man, you sound like a little surprised. I mean, is that like a...
No, I'm not surprised at it. I was talking about quarterbacks. I wasn't surprised at I'm just talking about how the numbers are just continuing to grow for every position group. That's what I'm referencing. So, no, I'm not surprised at all. I'm just saying I think they need to start making tiers. Just like, okay, Justin Jefferson gets a $35 million. Let's just use Justin Jefferson. Okay, let's say Burks, who plays for the Titans, has a good year this year, and he was the 4th guy, but he got to play. He put up big numbers. He got 1,000 yards. His contract is up, and then all of a sudden he gets a contract bigger than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that doesn't make any sense. But just because his contract was up, and that's what he did on that given year, then his agent's going to sell that. That's what he should get.
Should the Cowboys?
I think it should be tiers.
Should the Cowboys pay CeeDee Lamb more than Justin Jefferson?
And that's what's going to happen. He's going to get it because he waited.
Yeah.
But he's probably not better. I mean, you could, both of them are great. I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, so they both are really good. So I don't think that's the comparison. I'm talking about a good receiver starter versus an elite receiver starter. As far as
wasn't comparing the receivers, I was comparing the situation that both are in. The Cowboys having to maybe move some money around to find ways to keep the talent in the house, and CeeDee Lamb is the next guy that's up. And when you see a player like Justin Jefferson kind of break the bank like he did, you kind of got to expect him to make the same pay range. Now, what would that do for the rest of the roster as far as being able to keep guys?
Yeah, well, I was talking about just an average because I use Traylon Burks, a guy who's a solid player versus an elite player, and how that he may just, I'm not probably that situation, but a player will make it. Oh, no, the elite players should get paid elite money. So the Dallas has no choice. They have no choice. He's going to get probably at least what Justin Jefferson, or right below or right above.
Yeah. Just by that scenario, though, if he had 1,000 yards this year to the 4th receiver, man, he must have been doing some incredible stuff.
I just said he got some luck involved, and he got to play more, obviously.
Well, we're paying close attention to the Greenville Regional because the winner advances to Knoxville to take on the Vols in the Super Regional. That's East Carolina, who's ahead of Evansville 5-3 in the bottom of the 3rd with bases loaded with 2 out. I bring that up because we're going to catch up with Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News-Sentinel, talking about all the accomplishments that the Vols have had this year, and maybe even ask some questions about dynastic conversation with that Vols baseball team. That's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. We're brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Stick around for more in the Zone. Vols sophomore outfielder Dylan Dreiling was named the most outstanding player of the Knoxville Regional Sunday night, and rightfully so, after the Vols beat Southern Miss 12-3 to advance to this week's Super Regional at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. And that's where we turn our attention to Knoxville and bring in Knoxville Sentinel's very own Mike Wilson. He joins us here every week on the show. Mike, welcome in. You're on with Blaine and Brad. How you doing today, buddy?
Doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, would you agree that Dylan Dreiling, amongst a host of other players, were rightfully so named most outstanding player?
Yeah, so he was my vote until the ninth inning when Cal Stark hit his third homer of the weekend, and I was like, you know what? I think I got to change it to Cal Stark, which I think is probably just a reflection of the overall weekend the Vols had, where you could have probably gone with Hunter Ensley as well. Billy Amick could have gotten in that mix for the homers he had, but a lot of choices there. I do think it's hard to argue with Dreiling, who hit like 580 and 2 homers, 2 doubles. He had a tremendous weekend, and that's just kind of the way his season's gone. Produced a lot really quietly.
We have seen grand slams over the weekend. You know, what gives to the hot bats, do you think? When did all of a sudden they start figuring it out, you think, Mike?
In terms of grand slams or just in general?
And just in general, of how much productivity that we're seeing from the box.
That's kind of been what they've done for the past few seasons. They've hit more than 100 homers in 3 of the last 4. They've hit 150 in 2 of the last 3. So they've been guys hit the ball out of the park and hit it hard all the time. And that's just kind of the case again. They have a lot of those guys who've done it for a long time, like Blake Burke, Christian Moore. Billy Amick obviously did it at Clemson last year. Dreiling, Kavaris Tears. I mean, they've got guys top to bottom with the ball hard.
Mike, what would you say is the biggest difference between this 2024 version of Tony Vitello's Vols versus the 2022 version that came in with a lot of cachet?
It's probably the quieter team, I think, would be the biggest thing you see. There is a maturity about this bunch. I mean, there was a immaturity at times in that 2022 team where it flared. They just played the game with a little bit of an attitude. And this team just kind of puts its head down more and just goes about business. I think you saw that this weekend. It was just very business-like in rolling through the weekend, and that's been an MO for this team. They've gone out there, they've hit the ball hard, they've pitched well, they've won games. I mean, they're at 53 wins right now. So they're sitting very close to where that 2022 team was. So, but it's a team that just does it a little bit more quietly. They probably could be more brash than they are, but they have chosen not to be.
He is from the Knoxville News-Sentinel. He is Mike Wilson.
Well, Mike, we've asked all the questions here. B-Hop done a great job, but, man, they got grand slams, 3-run homer, 2-run homers, solos. Man, besides a natty, I don't know what else they could do. What, a no-hitter? I mean, what else is left?
Yeah, they don't have any of those this year. So that would be a good way to do it. Yeah, I mean, it's a very complete team, and I think it's a team you do look at and say, better get to Omaha. Looks like it's going to be ECU probably. Based on how that game is going right now in the Supers, that there's some good pitching there that Tennessee's going to have to contest with. But this does just seem like a team that's on cruise control heading toward a lot more baseball. But again, it felt that way in 2022 as well, although that team might have been on the highway in Germany. I can't remember the name of it right now, but on the way to Omaha and then fell short. So just got to find a way to keep getting it done.
Well, you know, what's fascinating is the top 3 players went 1 for 13. And then they got, 5 home runs from the rest of the team and 12 runs. I thought that was fascinating. It seems like they can beat you in more ways than one, not just the superstars, but everybody in the lineup, which is probably the difference between the 2022. It seems like, they thought their stuff didn't stink, and this team is kind of more level-headed, as you had mentioned. But do you think that's the difference to help them get over the snide and really get to a World Series and get an Natty?
Yeah, I mean, maybe my biggest takeaway from this weekend was the way that the whole lineup produced.
Right.
Dean Curley starting to hit the ball out of the park again was a big development. He hadn't really done that since the middle of SEC play. Cal Stark obviously hit 3 homers in the weekend, and if you're getting that level of production out of your 9-hole hitter, that changes a lot. And that was the thing that was true of the 2022 team was 1 through 9, all of those guys produced at a really, really high level. This team largely to this point has relied more on the top 6, at times the top 7. But Hunter Ensley is hitting like 400 since the start of May. So he's producing that 5-hole, flipping Dreiling and Tears into cleanup in 6. That's worked really well. And if you're getting home runs and numbers out of the bottom three in the lineup, that's crazy. And that now brings that lineup onto that same plane with what you saw in 2022.
There you have it. Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News-Sentinel.
Mike, how many arms do we see Southern Miss have to go through, comparatively speaking, to Tennessee that pitched Sechrist and Snead, who finished out the inning? Isn't it about saving arms as you get to this point of not only the regional, but heading into the super regional?
I mean, it is. But I mean, obviously, also when you wrap up the regional on Sunday, it very much flows like a normal week. I mean, Tennessee basically just played a 3-game weekend series, used their normal pitching the way they usually do, and then gets the normal rest heading into another weekend series. It's pretty much unfolding exactly as it would through the regular season. So nothing really changed there for Tennessee in terms of the way they managed the staff and the days they used guys on and how they used them.
Yeah, I was also looking at just, we were talking about the productivity in the box and kind of wondering where this the points have been generated from. It just seems like they're getting the most out of the top of the order. First off, with Christian Moore, Blake Burke, those kind of guys, Billy Amick, and I love his walk-up too. The stroke is incredible. I don't know why anybody else doesn't have that kind of contagious walk-up. But either way, it just seems like the guys that have those hot bats are really taking control early, putting pressure on the other roster to produce points as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the way it's gone all season. Christian Moore in the leadoff spot's done a great job. Not a traditional leadoff hitter when you've hit 29 homers, but he's set the tone. He's done a good job of that. Blake Burke, also not a typical two-hole hitter, but has worked out really well there. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the bread and butter is the top three, the top six, and they're continuing to hit.
Mike, it just seems like since that Vandy loss in the opening of the SEC tournament, maybe pitching from the bullpen seemed to be more of a master plan than we might have thought in the very beginning. But it just really kind of seems like they figured it out. It's not like they hadn't up to this point because they were the number one team in the country and had held that moniker for a long time. But it just seemed like after that first loss when we're thinking, man, what are they doing? Is this Vanderbilt really kind of getting hot? Or is it Tennessee really trying to position themselves? It maybe seems like the latter, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you went into Hoover, you weren't sure what you had outside of your known weekend arms. Obviously, they left there feeling better about Andrew Benke. Marcus Phillips had a good inning. Dylan Loy was terrific against LSU. I mean, he probably was the best of the bunch with what he did in that title game. So you left probably feeling like you've got more reliable pitching. I think Tony Vitello's remark after that week in Hoover was, Tennessee already felt good about the depth, but now it feels good about knowing that it can see the best version of those guys on a more consistent basis. So depth in pitching matters, especially if you get to Omaha and end up on the wrong side of the bracket. It's hard to get back out if you lose early, which is what Tennessee's encountered the last two times it's been there. So having more pitching options is always a good thing, especially for a staff that lost its Friday night guy really in the first month of the season and, got A.J. Russell back for a brief bit in Hoover, but he was out again this weekend. Yeah,
so, I mean, just an update on him. Is that somebody that we shouldn't look to even make even the latter rounds of the let's just say that they were able to get to Omaha and play in the series. Do you think that his injury would keep him out of the lineup later than that, or how's it looking for him, you think?
I mean, the latest comment from Tony Vitello was after the Friday game, which was that he's going to get looked at. They're going to make a decision from there. Nothing formal there. He wasn't on the roster again in the regional, so that tells you something. There was some soreness there after Hoover. I don't know. My looking at it, I don't know that you can afford to bring him back now, but that's not my decision. Again, they're going through the medical route, figuring that out and deciding what's next and what's best for A.J. Russell.
He is Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News-Sentinel.
Well, Mike, Tennessee's baseball program over the last 3 to 5 years has been the best in the state. How has Tony really done that to even say that? I didn't think that could happen this quickly or ever really at this point in time. But, man, they have passed Vanderbilt, and now only thing they could say that they're not is getting a natty. What has Tony done as the head coach really to put them over the hump?
Heck, I think it's wider than that. I think it's probably proven to be the most consistent top program in the SEC.
Wow.
I mean, in that window, you've seen Mississippi State and Ole Miss win national titles, right, but then have really bad seasons the year after that. So that's why I say maybe the top in the SEC in terms of consistency at the top, because despite the fact Tennessee hasn't won a natty, whereas in that time span you've seen multiple SEC schools win it, those other ones haven't maintained any level of success, whereas Tennessee is going to a fourth straight super regional, could go to Omaha for the third time in 4 years, won 50 games, 3 of the last 4. The accomplishments kind of speak for themselves. I think it's just the staff continuity. Frank Anderson as a pitching coach is terrific. Josh Elander as a hitting coach is outstanding. Tennessee's recruited incredibly well. They've done the portal really well, but the pitching's elite every year. This year may be the most impressive job Frank Anderson's done because it's just such a different staff with really kind of one starter in terms of a traditional pitching staff look. So it's really impressive what they've been able to do, but I think it goes down to recruiting and development, and Tennessee's paired the two of them beautifully.
Well, naturally, if they don't win the Natty, is this a disappointing year?
And I think if you go into a tournament as the number one seed, you want to go win the Natty, right?
Yeah.
That's a fair expectation inside and outside. And Tennessee's been in that conversation consistently the past few years. So at some point you want to get over that hump. This looks like a good opportunity to do it. Obviously, got to get past supers because nothing you've done at this point means you're going to get to keep going. And that's, I guess, a journalist version of coach speak. But, yeah, Tennessee in 2022 gets to Omaha, might be the team that wins it all, but doesn't get to Omaha. And it could be the same deal this year. So you just got to make it there and be in the mix.
I know the portal is real big naturally in college sports. I saw that I think it's Wyatt Evans, maybe a lefty that's a pitcher that's entered the portal. Kind of take us through what he has done this season or not done this season to enter the portal at this time.
I mean, Wyatt Evans wasn't a part of the team this year.
Oh, okay.
He kind of career went in a completely wrong trajectory. Had a nice bullpen role as a freshman, threw about 16 to 19 innings. Can't remember the exact number. Nice little lefty option. Had arm soreness last year and redshirted, and then wasn't around this year. So not the least surprising portal entry you're going to see this offseason from Tennessee is Wyatt Evans. Just, I mean, again, wasn't even on the roster this season, so not a surprise there.
All righty. Lastly, this is going to be funny, but my wife always loves jerseys. Which jersey combination? Are they superstitious that Tennessee plays in, obviously they win in 52. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So which jersey, since you follow them better than anybody, Mike, hey, man, tell us which ones you like. And is there some talk in the dugout about which ones they like?
I don't know about any of it. I don't think it matters. They seem to hit the ball.
They do, right.
I will say, though, the cream uniforms with the Vols script on it, I think is the best they've got by far. That's probably one of the SEC's coolest uniforms. I mean, LSU's championship Sunday golds are awesome. Ole Miss's powder blues are great. But those cream Vols ones look pretty sweet.
There you have it, Mike Wilson.
Hey, Mike, Blaine was mentioning the portal, and we see guys like Curley in the lineup, a freshman in that shortstop spot that just, has been making plays, putting bat on the ball, that kind of thing. You also mentioned Wyatt, even as a freshman, getting some sort of contribution to some degree. Is that something normal that we see from Tony V, using the younger players and then kind of developing them, or do you see a more a senior-laden route where they do kind of reach the portal to fill those gaps that they have? How have they been getting it done, Mike?
I mean, it's a combination of both. Christian Moore and Blake Burke contributed as freshmen on the 2022 team. Now they're staples of this lineup. Billy Amick's a transfer you brought in for 1 year. Last year, you can look at Maui Ahuna, Andrew Lindsay, Zane Denton, guys who came in as transfers and had big roles. Griffin Merritt, all of whom came for 1 year and did really important things for a team that went to Omaha. But Dylan Dryling's a 2-year guy who came in, played a decent role on last year's team, and now is a mainstay. Kavaris Tears, 2 years ago, he and Luke Lipsius, I thought, were the guys hitting the ball the hardest in fall ball before 2022. He had to wait his turn, and now he's absolutely raking. Hunter Ensley, developmental guy, redshirted early in his career, didn't really have a role in 22, became the starting center fielder last year as a major answer. So it's a hodgepodge. It's kind of been both for Tennessee, and they've done a great job developing. They've recruited enough guys that are ready to play as freshmen, so that's why you get a roster that looks like this.
Yeah, Mike, my youngest son, Colin, caught behind the plate at Indiana, so I'm kind of partial to the catchers. I love Cal Starks' game. I love just the connection that he has with the mound, even kind of putting what Tony V would like to have from the dugout in play, that kind of stuff. But I also like Hunter Ensley, like you just mentioned. Is there anyone, in your opinion, that might be unheralded? I mean, a guy like Hunter that, like you just mentioned, wasn't necessarily in the lineup before he found himself as a starter, really seems to be taking advantage of an opportunity. Anybody we're not talking about to this point, Mike?
On the pitching side, you talk about Xander Sechrist, a guy who might have been written off as a midweek-only guy early in his career who's been pretty darn great late in the season for Tennessee. He was really good yesterday, just had some bad luck. Southern Miss. On the hitting side, I do think you talk Hunter Ensley, who I think took a lot of heat throughout this season when he wasn't playing like he did last year, but he's been one of their best players for the last month, like I mentioned. Raised his batting average about 50 points in the last month. He's been so good. Tavares Tears has a little bit of that because he slumped a little bit late in the season. Cal Stark might be the biggest example because last year he hit like a $180. Seemed like an automatic out at times, and now not only is he a more reliable hitter, he's hitting ball out of the park. He is so important as a catcher. And I think you do go back to Dylan Dreiling, who is more of a superstar out of that group.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's not Christian Moore. He's not Blake Burke. He's not Billy Amick. He gets a little lost in the shuffle. I thought it was great to see him get named first-team All-SEC because that's the level of talent he is. But I don't know that people fully comprehended that because he's such a steady, quiet producer that you kind of lose him in the shuffle a little bit of this lineup, I think.
How distinct, Mike, are the roles of starter and closer in that bullpen? I think we did see at one point Nate Snead get a start and kind of was shelled early, before he was replaced. Are there situations where you'd rather see a guy, as your Saturday, Sunday dude versus him being a Friday guy, or how distinct or blurred are those lines in the bullpen?
Tennessee knows exactly how it's going to use its guys. It's been pretty consistent for a while where they go Chris Stamos for 2-3 innings on Friday. AJ Causey piggybacks him for 4 to 6. If you need Kirby, you throw Kirby that day. Saturday's been Drew Beam, go as long as you can. Aaron Combs has been in the mix on that day. His emergence has been really important for that bullpen. And then Sunday's been Xander Sechrist and Nate Snead in a similar piggyback to Stamos and Causey. So it's a little unconventional, but it's worked really well for Tennessee, and those roles are pretty clearly defined in terms of innings and who goes where on what day.
He is Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News-Sentinel.
Well, Mike, one more question before we let you go. Evansville's up 7-6 at the bottom of the seventh over East Carolina. Take us through both of those teams and how they match up, naturally don't match up versus Tennessee.
East Carolina's got 2 pitchers I like. One, Savage, being a potential top 10 pick. He's the guy that went toe-to-toe with Chase Burns the other day in that elimination game. I can't remember the name of the Evansville guy, but they've got a dude on the mound that's tremendous. Mm-hmm. Their game 1 guy is absolutely outstanding. Then obviously they went and scored like 17 runs in their second game, so they're capable. They're capable of making some noise and getting it done. I think you saw ECU run out of pitching against Wake late in that game, that elimination game, so curious how their arms hold up on the back end. But ECU is always good, man. That's a program that's right in the mix. As a regional host, a super regional team, haven't been to Omaha under Cliff Godwin, but that's a team that's in the postseason year in and year out. So either one of those teams, I think, especially with the front end starting pitching, makes for an interesting matchup with Tennessee.
Are you surprised that Evansville is up at the bottom of 7th? Or no?
I think anytime you see a 4 seed in this position in a regional, you're a little bit surprised. I can't remember what the number is, if it's 7 or 8. 4 seeds have won regionals in this format, but it doesn't happen super often. But that is, again, the equalizing factor in a regional, or a super regional for that matter, is having an ace. A bona fide ace. Because if you can go out there and win your first game, you're positioned better than anyone else by far. That is even more applicable in the regional. If you win 1, you only have to win 1 of the next 2. But in a super, staying on the winner's side is everything. Again, Tennessee gets to go through in 3 games. Whereas if you lose that Saturday game in the winner's bracket, instead of having to go 1-0 the rest of the way, you have to go 3-0. So staying on the winning side is everything. So for a team like Evansville with a dude that can really shove, that's an equalizer every single time.
All right, Mike, we're going to catch up to you maybe not later in the week, but around the super regional time when either one of these 2 teams, Eastern Carolina or Evansville, gets to take on the Vols down there in Knoxville. You've been fantastic. We'll catch up to you soon.
For sure. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News-Sentinel. And on the other side, guess what? It's the ding-dong time. Give us your ding-dong of the week, and we'll get into that. And maybe at some point in time, we'll get Hostess involved, and we'll
also
get some prizes.
sad news, too. Former guy, we can.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll talk about that on the other side. I did see that, too.
I can't believe that. I want to get some details on that.
He's our age, too.
I know.
It's crazy. Anyway, that's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. We are brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Stick around for much more here on The Zone. Welcome back. Final segment of the first hour. It's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. Before we bring in our ding-dong, as we ring-dong, however the track goes. I love that track, though. We're going to go to the phones at 737-1045 because Kyle in Cookeville has some concerns, and particularly about the Titans. Kyle, welcome in. You're on with Blaine and Brad. What's on your mind, buddy? Oh, he dropped. Oh, guess not. Well, I guess we will go to our ding-dongs then. Give us a call back if you want to ask that question. Well, actually, I think that he's calling back anyway. 737-1045 is how you can actually join the show. If you've got some concerns you want to talk about or whatever. But we're going to go back to Kyle in Cookeville, I do believe it was. Kyle, welcome in.
Go ahead. Took my Bluetooth out. It hung up for some reason. Anywho, safety guys. We got Hooker and Molden, but they expire after next year. This year's this year, but we're going to need some insurance and everything. And, like y'all were just talking about, you draft a guy and you have a guy ready who's going to be too expensive and cut him. I don't see. I've heard TD mention, what's his name, Matthew Jackson, the undrafted guy of ECU, but I'm not too sure about that. But, Blaine, you the safety man, so what do you think?
Right.
Well, you don't have to play safety to have an opinion on any position group, to be honest, whether it's offensive line, safety, or what have you. But I'm not in the draft room. So I think Hooker's a really good player. I think he's kind of an underrated player. I think as long as he stays healthy, he can probably be an elite player in this league and maybe potentially a Pro Bowl. Molden, I think, in this league at this day and age, I think he's really better fit as a backup and a multi-tooled player, with my opinion. He can play nickel, dime, safety. I think he's more of a backup role type player. So I think they need to sign a veteran, decent price, kind of like Boyd at receiver. I think they need to get a safety who's a quality star in this league, has started numerous times. I know they barred in what's the kid's name from the Jets? Marcus Day, who's familiar with the scheme and the system. He's worked with some of the coaches there in the secondary, Wilson as well. So, but that doesn't mean have to be him. But you don't have to get a high-priced, big-time, like Simmons is out there as far as the safety position. So, yeah, I think they definitely need to address that. And maybe they're thinking maybe in training camp somebody gets released, or after June. There's June now. So we shall see. But I would say that position needs to be addressed, as well as defensive end, another every down player. I think Key is more conventionally better as a rotational piece. I think that's when you get the best out of them. So those two pieces I think needs to be
real
addressed.
quick before we get our ding-dongs for the week. Are there any of these maybe one-year players in that backfield or the secondary rather that you would like, that you take another flyer on? Maybe they're on a one-year deal that you'd re-sign to an extension.
You talking about extending somebody that's currently on the roster?
Yeah, that's already on the roster for a one-year deal. Would you?
But I want to say Hooker has more than 1 year left. I think they gave him an extension last year, so I think he has more than 1 year left. I think he's looking at his rookie contract. He got an extension now. Hooker's making $10 million a year, so that's not true. So there's nobody that I see there that I would extend as far as safety. You talking about any position?
Yeah, I'm just talking about particularly in the secondary because that's what his concerns were about one-year guys.
They just signed 2 corners.
Yeah. So are they to multi-year deals? I can't remember.
Well, 3-year Woozy, and then Snead got big money. He's 4 years, right?
So not going anywhere.
No.
So some of those questions have already been answered. If there's a multi-year deal on the table, then guess what? They'll at least be around for a couple of seasons. Hey, let's grab a ding-dong. Some of these people are calling in to want to talk about something else, but there are some people like Eric in Nashville that have a ding-dong for the week. Eric, welcome in. You're on with Blaine and Brad. What's going on?
Hey guys, my ding-dong is for all these ridiculous and insane prisoner of the moment hot takes by the NBA, wherever you hear them from. I'm talking about ESPN, TNT, anybody commentating on that, and also podcasts, whether it be former coaches in NBA and or players in NBA. And what have we heard? We've heard, Karl Anthony Towns is another Michael Jordan. We've heard that Kyrie and Luka are the greatest, either backcourt, the greatest duo, top 5 all time. I heard last week, the Boston Celtics, this run to the NBA Finals is in the top 5 all time of greatest runs. And this morning I heard somebody was saying, Luka Doncic with this run, he's the best player in NBA. Guys, we need to stop all this nonsense. And what do they all have in common? They've not won NBA championships yet. Wait until they do that before we start doing that, guys. I mean, I'm no expert. I'm 60 years old, guys. I've been watching NBA since the mid-'70s, so I haven't been seeing things like, Wilt Chamberlain or Oscar Robertson or Bill Russell, none of those guys. But all these insane hot takes need to stop. Let's take a chill pill. Wait until these guys win championships before we start throwing out these platitudes. Guys, that's my ding-dong. Y'all take care and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate you, brother. You know what? There's something to be said about that. But then again, how do you compare the different generations? How can you compare Julius Erving to Michael Jordan to LeBron James to Anthony Edwards? It's kind of hard, don't you think, when the field is different? Maybe even the game itself is different. How it's policed, officiated, I mean. It just seems like it's kind of hard to compare because what might be great to us in our mid-20s is completely different to, say, today's generation in their mid-20s of who they think are the greatest players.
Oh, it's always tough to do that.
Right.
But I think he's referencing, just talking about, they're the greatest, they haven't even got any championships. So I think that is all about hot takes, to be honest. And they're trying to generate conversation, just like we're talking about it. So, I'm fine with it. I think Luka's a modern-day Larry Bird. He has no championships. Larry Bird had a lot of championships. I think he had 4 or 3 or whatever it was. So how could I even have that in that same conversation? Because I'm talking about how he dominates games. His shooting, he's unstoppable. He's not super athletic like most of those freak of nature athletes guys are on the basketball court, but his skill level and his IQ level takes him to that level. There's a part of that I do understand, and there's the other side of it, until you get something, man, let's see where you stack up in best players of all time.
Yeah. Let's grab one more ding-dong before we head to the top of the break. Tommy in Nashville has a ding-dong. Tommy, welcome in to Blaine and Brad. What's going on?
Thank you for having me. My ding-dong is for SeatGeek and Ticketmaster. I'm a Vol for life, and I don't mind paying extra for seats. And I got on the internet last night after the Vols won and saw that there were some, what I thought, seats available up high behind the Tennessee dugout.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to take my family, and I called my daughter this morning and said, hey, I got 4 seats last night, and we're going to go see the Vols this weekend. And I paid $960, which, that's a lot of money, but, I was willing to do that. And she calls me back and says, Dad, those are standing room only.
For $900?
No, $960 to stand up and watch the Vols play baseball. So this SeatGeek and Ticketmaster are making it where you can't take your family to a game. It's just, and I understand they don't have enough seats. But that's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one there, Tommy, and thank you for the call, brother. I tell you what, man, $900 to stand and watch a game.
I can stand in front of my TV in front of my living room.
I don't know about that. Hey, listen,
ain't nothing like being there though.
You're right. Maybe we'll talk about that on the other side. What's better, to stand there for $900? Excuse me, $960, or watch from your living room? Right. Joe, Blaine, and I will give our ding dongs on the other side. But if you want to continue to give us yours, you can at 737-1045. We are brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Joe Hogg. The Vols are heading to the Super Regionals, but who are they going to face? It will either be East Carolina or Evansville. Right now, that game is in the top of the 8th inning, and Evansville has a 1-run lead over East Carolina. Justin Jefferson just got paid a 4-year, $140 million contract extension, where the moment he signed, he was written a check for $88.7 million. For all your foundation repair and all of your waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols, as well as the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome back. He's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. We have been naming our ding-dongs, 737-1045 if you've got one. I guess we can go around the room and kind of give our ding-dongs of the week. If you want me to start, I can go first.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think?
Yeah.
So mine kind of goes back to last week, and it was actually the end of last week when it was alleged that the Louisville Police Department was going to drop all the charges against Scotty Scheffler. Mm-hmm. And I remember when Joseph Bonanno and I were watching the video of this officer, kind of engaging Scotty Scheffler, I didn't see any dragging. I didn't see any sort of injury that could have been, gotten by the dragging by the car. So I was like, okay, when I heard that the officer basically said that he has no ill will towards Scotty Scheffler, I'm like, ill will for what? You banging on his windshield and getting your face all in his car, saying whatever you were to him? I just thought that's kind of crazy. So the fact that he's still doubling down on the fact that he was injured somehow in that altercation between he and Scotty Scheffler, and the Louisville Police Department deciding to drop the charges, something's false here. Either they need to be on the same page or whatever, but I'm just thinking that officer might have been a little out of line. So he's my ding-dong. The guy that
was a ding-dong.
He was a ding-dong, basically saying that he was, drugged by a car. And if there was another part of that video that we didn't see to where there was a dragging of instance, but when I saw it, I was like, I didn't even see the dude on the ground. So it just kind of rang false to me. So he gets my ding-dong. Anyway, what's your ding-dong?
Oh, we let
Joe Hunk get his?
Yeah, you got it already set up?
Hey, hold on a second.
What's going on, man? We haven't got Joe Hunk in there.
Look, I've just been sitting back here letting you guys do your thing.
Come on now, you know how this works.
That is.
And we let you handle your thing.
I've been trying to get a ton of stuff set up back here.
You have been working, too.
I just love that I can see you. Like, it's not, dark night in there, and I can't even see who's in there.
Hey.
You got it light bright.
Buck and his boys have this thing set like it's 1 a.m. in a club somewhere.
I know. They act like they're in the game room, man.
The curtains are down and everything.
EDM stuff.
I mean,
I'm afraid I'm old. I'm afraid I'll fall asleep.
Thought you were going to order a drink or something, B.
All right, man. What you got going on? What's your ding dong?
So my ding dong NCAA baseball tournament goes to the Arizona Wildcats. Mm-hmm. It's not just that they got eliminated. They were the 13 overall seed. They were hosting a regional. It's not that they just got eliminated. They got swept.
Yeah.
And they not only got swept, but they got outscored in their 2 games. 16-4 in those 2 games. They only scored 4 runs in their 2 home region baseball games that they had, and they were considered one of the best teams in the country.
Wow.
Out.
Out. So, okay. All right.
Yeah. Because now, look, it wasn't just that they lost.
Because that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, well, they just got beat.
Because a lot of teams did. I mean, Arkansas didn't make it out of their regionals.
Right, a 2 seed.
There's a 2 seed in there. There's a lot of teams that didn't make it out of their regionals. But to get swept and to only score 4 runs in those 2 games, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Is that any more embarrassing than look, Blaine, now you and I kind of came here to Nashville when Tim Corbin was kind of getting things started.
Oh, man.
As far as like the Vanderbilt Commodores being revered as one of the premier programs in college baseball. And I'm stunned to see High Point bounce them out. I'm stunned to see them lose even in the fashions that we have seen them. Was when we're traditionally seeing a stronger, stouter team, a deeper team in all facets. I'm just a little bit shocked So,
well, you got to be, just shocked just because of the history there and, winning the Natties and everything else. Corbin and Vanderbilt's baseball program has been elite for a long period of time. And then to lose like that to that team is, it could be a shock to the system. But, baseball is a funny thing, man. You have a good pitching day or a good pitcher or just bad a day at the office. It can happen. I've seen it, but unfortunately, it's not supposed to happen to teams like that.
Yeah.
But my ding dong is to all those who say Corbin should be out.
Who would say that?
That's what people are saying, right, Joe?
No, there are people that are asking, like, hey, look, he did a lot of things for the university. He's kept the baseball program as the premier sport at the university, but it's a little different now. And I think it has to do a lot with what
Tennessee's
Vitello is doing in
success.
Knoxville. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what it has to do.
Different voice, new name, need to bring players in the transfer portal. They need to do all these things that they're saying. But again, it's,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But I would love the rivalry between Tony Vitello and Tim Corbin to continue. I mean, two great programs that are in Tennessee, that would be awesome. And they're both in the SEC and less than 140 miles from each other. That's
we
cool.
all want to see that, but they talking about winning.
Man.
The fans,
is there a correlation, Blaine, do you think, between the struggles that they're having in the basketball court, between the struggles that they continue to have on the football field at Vanderbilt?
But you usually could always hang your hat on the baseball, though.
That's what I'm saying. Baseball, you always had baseball. You always had that.
It's because baseball with the scholarship opportunities. Like, you only get a little over 11 scholarships in baseball. So it doesn't matter if you're an All-American or if you're a number one draft pick or you're the guy walking on. You're only getting, the baseball team only gets a little over 11 scholarships to break apart. So somebody's having to pay their way at Vandy regardless.
Yeah.
So
I think it's hard finding those super unique athletes, the ones that find themselves to be all conference academically, and they're also super competitive to be all conference athletically too, to be able to handle the rigors of a Vanderbilt curriculum. It's got to be challenging to say the least.
But he's been doing it. So, I can't lean back into that now. Like, that is a true statement, what you said.
Maybe for the other programs, though, too, like football. Football hasn't been relevant since James Franklin was here. You know what I mean? They've had a number of different guys there. Basketball, they bring in Jerry Stackhouse. You're thinking, this guy knows basketball. He's had a lot of accomplishment, but for whatever reason, the kids don't listen to him.
And if they want to be successful now, though, it's going to come down to NIL. That's what it's going to come down to, because if you're going to get a player into Vandy, you're going to have to pay him now. It's NIL for every.
Is that the hang-up, you think? As far as playing the portal? Well, not for Corbin. I don't think that Corbin would be someone that would balk against whatever it took to get talent in the building. But what about, the higher-ups that kind of help with those decisions? Are they on board with the NIL being the way of the future, where these kids aren't coming for nothing?
Right. Well, so that's what I'm saying. That's all the sports there. That's what I'm getting at.
Right.
Not
Football
just,
too, right?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, basketball too.
Well, and Taylor on our F&M Bank chat even said, I'm not a hashtag Corbin out, but I'm genuinely concerned for their program's ability to harness the NIL and transfer portal against the rest of the NCAA world.
Clemson's having the same problem. You hear a guy that says, "Hey, I'm gonna work the living room with these seniors in high school," versus sometimes bringing in these dudes that are already established that might be looking to get out from underneath somebody that's truly dynamic at their existing program and just want to show America or the world what they can do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
I would agree.
But and nowadays, I guess it is. It's kind of difficult. We're now starting to enter the precipice of thinking about this as a minor league system. I guess the concept of a professional is someone that's doing something for pay. That is the idea of being professional. And while we're talking about student athletes, and I use that term loosely, they are now being compensated. So that does put them in the category of being what? Professionals. Now, maybe not to the degree we're talking about NBA, NFL, MLB, that degree, but, they're still, in line with...
why aren't they in that degree? Some of them are making more money because that's why they're not coming out.
Yeah, but I think it's the age. You know what I'm saying? We're still talking about kids, probably the least developed that they'll be doing what they're doing.
You start making over $500,000.
And that's the difficulty.
You're going to be making more than some of the rookies if you undrafted or late round pick. Like, that's why I think some guys, they're making millions. They just like, hey, man, I'm better off staying.
It's funny. That kind of leads into the conversation about rookies and the things that they have to go through. Mm-hmm. Like Caitlin Clark is going through a situation where she's almost being put through the car wash just because, she's different. She comes in with some cachet. She brings a lot of attention to the NBA, WNBA, which hadn't happened in years for them, basically. And she's getting some pushback, right or wrong. But I do remember our year being the first year of the collective bargaining agreement where rookies were making a lot of money guaranteed up front. As a matter of fact, I went as the first round pick to being one of the more highly compensated guys on the team, and I hadn't taken a snap yet. So I would say that there was a little level of animosity for those guys that had been on the team for 4 and 5 years that were trying to establish themselves, but they weren't making any more money than I was. Matter of fact, they were making less than I was.
That's what I was talking about.
Until they got that right and basically tabbed a rookie cap on it that said, hey, you unproven dudes, there's no more Sam Darnold contracts here. That $50 million guarantee for you just getting drafted and having your name called across the stage and you get to go hug Roger Goodell, that's no longer cause for you being the highest paid guy in the locker room anymore. So, but with that being said, it still does, kind of weird degree of rookies having to kind of establish themselves. Especially those ones, Blaine, that have responsibility. Like you're drafted, like J.C. Latham was drafted to see the starting lineup. That's just the way it is. It's seventh round, seventh pick. He's not going to be sitting behind anybody, right? That's not by design why he was even brought there. So you would see how there's a certain level of compensation, but not near to the degree of, say, Trent Smith or something like, that has been around forever and has really established himself.
Some are 49ers?
Yeah.
Trent Williams,
excuse me. Yeah. I was thinking Tyron Smith and Trent Williams all combined, but they're the same kind of guy.
Yeah, they are.
Someone that's been around for a long time, that's a proven Pro Bowler, all pro type, and should, garner the top compensation at that position. But a young guy coming in, maybe not so much, but there should be a certain level of expectation.
Well, what's unique about baseball as compared to the other sports, when you talk about the NIL, like On3 does a great job at looking at what their market value is. And so like Bronny James, for instance, is $13.2 million. He's number 3 behind Livia Dunn and Primetime Sun as far as their value with NIL. The number 1 player in college baseball when it comes to their NIL value is Trey Morgan of LSU, and his value is a little under $100,000.
It's under $100,000?
Under $100,000 according to On3. Now, Christian Moore, according to On3, his value when it comes to NIL deals is only $17.3 thousand. Like that's the difference because of the exposure of basketball and football as compared to the exposure of baseball and the marketability of those players.
That's interesting. Hey, we've got another interesting question that our producer Joe Hunk came up with. Are the Tennessee Volunteers baseball team the Kansas City Chiefs of the NCAA baseball tournament? We'll talk about that and much more. 737-1045 if you want to jump in. That's Blaine. I'm Brad. We'll be right back.
For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 24 years. We've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we're now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. So pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in the barn in his backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just visit them online at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com. I always tell them Blaine said you.
I know Vol fans are clapping above their heads right now. That's Billy Amick's walk up.
Ooh,
They're doing it just like this.
Ooh,
Oh,
you
yeah.
love that, though.
Yeah, I do kind of like it. It's very coordinated.
You got it.
Yes.
Oh, they clap
It's
it
jacked
because
up, too.
Evansville beat ECU.
Yeah,
the number 1 seed. Isn't that crazy? I told you baseball crazy.
I asked Jackson, I said, who don't the Vols want to see? And he said East Carolina. They don't want to see the Pirates.
Well,
guess what? They won't. They get to see the Evansville Aces. And where'd you say Evansville? Where'd you say Evansville was? In the middle of nowhere?
Oh, my. It's far. It's closer to here than it is to Indiana. It's literally like, it's only like 3.5 hours from here.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. But you go from Indiana, it's like 4.5 for Indianapolis.
So Evansville
I
gets to go to the Super Regional in Knoxville. Interesting.
Wow.
Evansville's
You gotta
closer
figure out
to
the
here
matchups,
than
right?
Louisville is.
Is it really?
What?
Louisville's only 2 hours from here.
Oh, that's where it's going to be?
No. He was just saying he said it was closer here than Louisville is closer to here, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
Either way, hey, listen, we were doing a ding-dong situation there, and Blaine does have another ding-dong, but we've also
I
come
always
up...
keep multiple.
I know, you keep multiple ding-dongs?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Where you go with that?
Day one.
Joe told me to say that, man. Joe told me to say that.
Hey, so for all you Nashville Sounds fans, you can join 104.5 The Zone and 3HL at First Horizon Park on Wednesday for 104.5 The Zone night. And guess what? We've decided to combine the best ding-dong of the day with tickets to that same game. How about that?
You better get to 737-1045 The Zone. Hurry up, call in.
737-1045. Don't just call up in here lining up for the tickets. You got to give us a ding-dong to boot.
Sure.
You know, and like Blaine said, that's what she said. Yeah. But you had another ding-dong. You said you had another one?
Yeah, I do. And it's more NBA. I am perturbed. I am perturbed. I am pissed. 10 days and 7 days for both teams before we get to watch the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
Who scheduled that?
Right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm just sitting here Thursday. What day? I mean, why does it take so long?
Well, maybe both teams can heal up now, huh?
Come on.
It is a long time.
Man, they were waiting for Joe because they said Joe was busy. He had to go to his son's baseball games all Monday through Wednesday. So they said they're going to do it on Thursday.
Trying to get to the end of the tournament. So I can sit down and watch.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
My son's team's horrible, so just give us 2 days. We're good.
Yeah. We also did throw out there the question of whether or not we thought that, and it sounds kind of crazy, but hey, are the Tennessee Vols baseball team the Kansas City Chiefs of the NCAA baseball tournament? I thought that was a good question, and people on our F&M Bank chat have been chiming in as well. And they said, Lonzo Wright says, base Vols, which is kind of cool. Base Vols?
Base Vols.
Yeah. Base Vols are not the Chiefs of college baseball. Why? Because the Chiefs don't choke.
No. Other people saying that, Tennessee's baseball hasn't won anything yet.
Right.
So,
Tennessee, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Alex Shirley says that Tennessee baseball, the Kansas City Chiefs of college baseball, ha, 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 ha. They've won nothing. Now, that is the only point that I would agree with. Only for the simple fact is that if you're talking about the Chiefs are now trying to win 3 championships in a row.
That's
okay,
crazy.
Now I get the reason why we're having this conversation is because it does seem like there has been a level of dominance that Tennessee has had, at least for the rankings during the regular season, but it really hasn't translated to anything in the postseason
until this year.
Right, which we're seeing.
They winning about 6 runs or more now. They
putting it on
now. Yeah,
So, but what did you say during our green room discussion? You're kind of like, wait, you were looking at the success here that Vanderbilt has had, but are you waiting for something bad to happen?
Who?
You.
Oh, no, I just said, man, I hope they can keep it up because sometimes the tide turns and you just never know why. Just imagine, when I read these stats, remember I said that the star players pretty much, I'm going to just say that, 1 for 13, but then the rest of the team picked up the pace for them, right? That's a great team. Well, what if they didn't? What would happen? So I'm afraid and nervous because they look so dominant. It's like, there's no way they're not going to win it all. And when you start thinking that as an athlete, that there's no way that they're not going to win it, I
don't know.
They're not going to win it.
Some people take that swaggeristic feeling all the way to the.
I think it's temper swag. That's why I like this team. I do.
Oh, because they're tempered swaggy.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not all in swaggy.
I know we good.
Yeah.
I'm confident, not cocky. I'm confident.
You smell that? That's confidence.
Yeah.
There's no Deion said.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So if they're not the Chiefs, then what NFL team
You know
would
who they are.
say?
As a matter of fact, somebody said it.
I would say the Bills or the Ravens, somebody who comes up short and disappoints you.
That's what is it? Not,
But they should have won one or at least been to a Super Bowl, and they haven't. I'm talking about the NFL teams.
Yeah.
Until they win one, can we compare them to a championship team in any level of whatever we're talking about? So they're never going to beat the Chiefs.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Noctrop on the F&M Bank chat. He said that they are the Bills in the 90s, which, like you said, they played the Cowboys in multiple times, right, and did not win one of them.
You talking about some bad luck,
That's some bad karma. Hey, let's go to the phone lines because somebody does have a ding-dong. 737-1045 is how you can actually get on as well. Let's go to Blair in Nashville.
Blair.
Joe. Welcome in, Blair. You're on with Blaine and Brad. What's going on?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Fantastic,
What's going on, Blair?
brother.
Good deal, boys. So my ding dong is going to the WNBA player who just flat out decked Caitlin Clark the other day.
Yeah, Carter.
I mean, I get, a rookie going after them a little bit, welcome them to the league, but I mean, it almost looks like she hates her and is going out of her way to take her out. I mean, she's the all-time leading scorer in college basketball, so I just think...
Whoa. Wait, but I got to ask you one question about what you said because you can't despite what you said. But how many times did Michael Jordan get knocked down? What?
He got knocked down a lot.
Well, boy, he sure did. I'm just wondering. Here's what I view it as. Guys, ladies are getting physical with her because, first of all, they're jealous, of course. But here's the thing. I don't see her teammates coming to her rescue.
That's my only thing.
That's what bothers me.
That was my only thing. Well, first off, I think that there is some unspoken stuff that we,
She's actually helping the league, to be honest.
Right. But I think that what Blair is saying is that it might have been a response to Caitlin getting physical as well, too. I heard that there might have been an elbow maybe thrown before that. But for you to blatantly just run into her and knock her on the ground right there, that wasn't even a basketball move. But I'm with you on that, though. If you're going to knock and Draymond Green said the same thing. As crazy as it is we talking about Draymond, Draymond said that, listen, if anything, whenever you see some player hit the ground, what do you see? You normally see somebody run over to pick her up, right? How many people ran over to pick her up when she was on the ground? Not one. So that to me, yeah. So Blair, I feel you on that. Carter gets one, but also I might go throw a ding dong for her teammates that didn't come over and get her up off the ground.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Because as a coach, I'd have been like, hey, look. Regardless of how you feel about the situation, that is your teammate. She's wearing your jersey, okay? So it is us against the world in essence. It's about us and anybody else that steps on this hardwood to take us down. We are in this together. And for them to allow her to be knocked down and that's your teammate? No, that's not happening.
Watch this, and then when there's a pick, they don't tell her it's a pick alert. Pick. Right. And she runs right into some old tall woman, and bam! Oh, she hits the deck. I'm like, dang, what are y'all doing? Are y'all trying to help her?
Yeah.
Hurt her? I'm like, man, this is weird.
What it's going to come down to a seminal moment because those players are either going to be forced with acknowledging that for whatever reason they don't want to play with her, and maybe that's a deeper conversation, versus having to then step up and be on her side, especially in situations when you're playing an opponent. Somebody else is coming into your house or you're collectively going into somebody else's house to try and do something. You are a band of people together to try and accomplish something. And if your teammate gets knocked down, you better go either to knock somebody down or at least help your teammate up.
And she's valuable to the league. I mean, and I get it. She's getting all these endorsements and everything else. But you got to think that's going to start trickling down to everybody else at some point in time. And it's already starting that. So, man, wow, it's kind of funny to watch. I think the media kind of has blown it up a little more than it really is, but she is definitely getting every game getting knocked down at least one time, and they got to.
But you know what? Some people were getting tired of hearing about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Just were tired of it. You know what I mean? It's just different. Some people were tired of hearing about Caitlin Clark.
Oh yeah,
people were just tired of hearing about
the
Swifties. What's going on with? Have you ever been to a Taylor Swift concert? Did you go to when she was here in town?
Yeah.
You went when she was here?
Yeah, man.
How was it?
Boy, I'm versatile.
I'm not saying you're not just versatile. I'm just saying, how was the concert?
I just want to say I like great performances. I like to go see great performers.
Then why did you just ate a canary?
No, because I just was like, man, I was just like, dang.
You were enjoying the concert.
I think, I'm like, dang, man, she made $50 million today.
Today, not just. That's it. You said like, dang, today.
All I did was like, dang, I chose the wrong profession.
What do you mean? What you talking about? Are you a performer? Is that what you're saying you were?
I should have been long time ago, like at 10. I should have started acting or something.
Let's go back to the phone because I'm tired of hearing you talk about
Joe, that's a topic right there, Joe. If you had to go back in the warp speed and go back in time, what would you want to do based off what you know today?
Are we talking like straight Marty McFly style? Yeah. Like we've got
the book. Back to the future.
Yeah, that's right up your alley, man. What are you talking about?
1,000%. I'm going and betting on some baseball games. I'm truly doing this.
So you be a bookie?
Myself up for Philly. Oh no, I'm not going to. I'm going and I'm making sure I'm making the bet.
How would you go through all that? Just go pick the lotto numbers.
Because you know what, or something like something like that. Because the reason is you just mentioned them, the Bills. Guys, I can make a bank load on the Bills losing over those four years, man.
Yeah,
I totally could. Or if we did live betting, again, no offense to you two, but the Oilers being up in the fourth quarter and then the Bills game, like I could bet on the fact. I was like, hey, you know what?
We were still in college. We were still in college.
Look, I was
watching that game just like you did. I thought the game was over and I turned it to the Cowboys game. I remember this
today.
Did.
See, I would make so much money. Be like, fourth quarter, how much you want to bet Bills going to come back on this one?
That's funny.
I will make some money.
Let's go to the phone lines again and go to Hendersonville. Kevin has a ding dong and he wants to join us now.
Good call, Blair.
Kevin, welcome in. You're on with Blaine and Brad. What's going on?
What's up, guys? Hey, I was actually going to go WNBA, but Blair stole my ding dong, so I'm going to call an audible.
Okay.
And I don't know if the ding dongs have to be sports related, but mine's not going to be today. But my ding dong goes out to a certain Michigan man by the name of Corey Harris. I don't know if y'all heard about that this past week, but he popped into his court hearing that he was attending for having a suspended driver's license, but on his Zoom call, he was driving his car and actually told the judge to hold on while he was chiming in from his Zoom call because he was parking the car. So I'm no big brain guy here, but I feel like if you're going to court for a suspended license, you probably shouldn't be showing up to court while you're on Zoom while you're driving. So, yeah, Corey Harris, man, you're a ding-dong. You got to think better than that.
From Michigan.
That is fantastic.
Oh,
I'm going to say right now that's the leader in the clubhouse right now. You take a Zoom call. You take a Zoom call, talk to the judge, and you drive it.
And it's a straight-on shot. So not only was he on Zoom, it was right in front of his line of vision for driving.
He didn't pull over or nothing.
He's driving. He told her to hold on while I park.
You can see, like...
Oh, well, he was trying to pull over, though.
No, stop. He's already driving. Are you kidding me? You
pull over and you get the passenger seat. Be like, hey, hold on a sec. You can totally play it off.
Why don't you blur your background? Something. Well, right now, Kevin, you're a leader. I'm going to say you're the leader. I'm not going to say you're the winner because we're going to at least get through this segment. But if you do have a ding-dong, call us up at 737-1045. Now, getting back to the F&M Bank chat and what some of the responses are to the question that we have put up there, which is, are the Tennessee Vols baseball team the Kansas City Chiefs of the NCAA baseball tournament? The reason why I say this is it can be at least construed as a relevant conversation is because of how well they've been playing as of lately. And you just mentioned that, Blaine. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a team that has been number one for a long time, not only this year, but in recent years. This is a team that was number one seed in their own tournament. This is a team that...
And they're handling that pressure, and they're playing like number one.
Right, like they've been there.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, why we're talking about the Chiefs in this conversation, because if there's one team that people would say is a favorite to win, a championship again, it would be those Chiefs. And why? Because they've kept the core together and they act like they've been there.
You think they're gonna win another one?
Which one, the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Okay, who else are you betting against the Chiefs for? I don't see anybody else that has made so many improvements during the offseason or that has made such an acquisition to team up with somebody that's just like remember when the Jets, when Aaron Rodgers decided to go to New York? Now, admittedly, when Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay, it wasn't like he had the best year in Green Bay that he had, but he's still a two-time MVP. And what did that do for the Jets? People were talking like, oh my God, this is the year for the Jets. That's the combination. And it obviously didn't happen because 4 plays in, he was done. But there hasn't been that conversation about anybody pushing up on the Chiefs like that. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, they've gotten a few answers at receiver, which was the most, I guess you could say, inconsistent position that they had. And you still have Patrick Mahomes. You still have Travis Kelce. You still got Chris Jones. You still got Andy Reid, the mad scientist, calling the plays.
And my guy, Steve Spagnuolo, who was my safety coach in Philly. You better use the DC.
Right, and people love him. And Spags, he could have been a head coach somewhere. He said, nah, I'm good right here, winning championships. So I don't know, man. I don't see anybody else that's part of it, that's part of this conversation.
And that goes back to who's the best player in the league? Mahomes, right?
That to me is always a weird question. How can you do that? Because guess what? When I need somebody to tackle, I'm not going to Patrick Mahomes. When I need somebody to kick a field goal, it ain't Patrick Mahomes.
Right, but guess what?
What?
He had to drive you down there.
Well, put it this way, we can win a game 3-0.
But he had to drive you down there.
I'm just saying, you can win a game 3-0.
Yeah, you can. But he had to drive
It's hard to argue against the quarterback because even when you talk about MVP conversations, how many times do you mention running backs? How many times do you mention defensive ends? How many times do you mention people that don't have the ball in their hands? It's hard. When's the last time? Hey, when's the next time an offensive lineman's going to win MVP? Never. Because we don't ever have the ball. 737-1045 is the number. We've got a couple of people that want to give us a run. Huh?
I seen you pick up one and run.
I wish to God I had
ear hole.
Got crushed. You guys are crazy. It's like you sharks when you see blood in the water, man.
Why was you running so high?
Because I'm thinking I got a chance. I think I got a chance.
I couldn't even get your end zone dance.
Listen, I couldn't get down, Joe. I'm getting hit by 4 and 5 dudes, and they're trying to keep you up so that way they can get the ball out of you. Because me, as with gloves and tape all over, I'm not going to be able to.
Experienced running the ball. We're going to get this ball.
These dudes are just rocking you. Anyway,
but when you got the ball, you thought you was going to score.
Hey, I took 3 steps. And before the cavalry got there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't get on the ground.
What happened? You couldn't wait to go watch it in film, could you? You couldn't wait.
Well, we always do that too, because when the film comes on Monday, you're like, hey, fellas, watch this play right here. I got rocked.
But it's fun just to watch it, though, because it's like a dream come true for most linemen, O-line, D-line, get the ball, and they get the rumbling, stumbling. Because at some point, y'all were, running the ball, even if it was in Little League, you just had to touch the ball.
End, bro.
Right,
I used to carry the rock.
Everybody has some skill now, so it's always funny to see that, man. I love it.
Let's go to Springfield and bring Kyle in. He has a ding-dong for us today. Kyle, welcome in. You're on with Blaine and Brett. What's going on? How are you?
I got a good one for you. Tommy Pham, I believe is how you say his last name, from the Chicago White Sox. Slides into home yesterday against the Brewers and gets into it with Contreras. Well, they get to barking back and forth. Well, instead of doing anything on the field, Pham went to his post-game interview and basically goes off to say, well, that's why I fight in the summer all the time. Man, if you fight in the summer all the time, why weren't you fighting on the field?
I know that's right. Tell him about it. I don't know, Kyle. That's a good one. I like people that get into it, the drama of it all.
I still think Kevin's baseball fighting.
Yeah, it was baseball fighting.
You want to talk about trash talking? Just go back, watch the video, and Contreras, when they get Pham out, they start jawing at each other as the catcher was coming off. It was awesome to watch.
Yeah.
It was.
I don't know, man. I think that still hockey has the inside track when it comes to fighting, because them dudes, they drop them gloves and it's on.
And they let them go.
That's the thing.
Only sport that is basically illegal to beat somebody
to beat the brakes off of each other during play.
This is horrible. Why did they do that?
We got to step away. When we come back, we'll finish up the phone lines that may have a ding dong. But we also got a few questions out there, because you know what? The Titans are in minicamp tomorrow, and I'm sure tomorrow we will hear from players and coaches as they take to the podium. But there'll be a lot to discuss as the minicamp will go from tomorrow until Thursday, and we have some questions to answer too on the other side. But that's Blaine Bishop. I'm Brad Hopkins. We are brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. We'll be back to wrap up the show next.
Nashville, summer storms are making a splash, and we're not just talking about the rain. Don't wait until the dark to think about a whole home generator. Act now and keep your family comfortable through any storm. Speaking of storms, it's time to shield your home with surge protection. Score $50 off when you book now, because why let lightning crash your party? Feeling like the electrical panels are stuck in the Stone Age? Upgrade now and save $200 with our sizzling summer promotion. Let's bring your home into the 21st century. But wait, there's more. Dive into the plumbing summer promos. Replace the old water heater and score $500 off a tankless one or two or $250 off a tank model. Yes, that's what I said. Don't let a cold shower ruin your summer and the vibes from the summer. So worried about what's lurking in your water? Well, get peace of mind with free water quality testing it on your own house. Yes, that's what Cool Ray does. Got slow drains bring you down? I know I do. Let us tackle that with a $93 or free drain cleaning. And if we can't clear your drain, it's on us, Cool Ray. In Nashville, why sweat it out when you can keep cool with Cool Ray? Let's make your summer breeze. Visit coolray.com or call us today at 615-570-0900 to snag these sizzling deals. Cool Ray, keep it Tennessee cool, plumbing right, and always lights bright. What year was this?
I don't know. That's banging though.
Huh?
You don't like that?
The beat was banging. I don't know what they were saying.
I rarely know what they're saying.
Oh,
anyway,
me too. We showing our age. Huh?
Titans Vols baseball. Are they the Kansas City Chiefs of the NCAA baseball tournament? We've got that out there, and we've also got going into Titans minicamp. Who is their most underappreciated player? And the NFL Network says that it's Roger McCreary. But we've also had ding dongs out there. As a matter of fact, I think
they
if
were
we
out
can
there.
get. Well, yeah.
Floating around?
Yeah. They're always out there. There's ding-dongs always floating around out there. Just hanging out there. But Joe, don't you think that it should go to the guy that brought up Corey Harris, the fact that he actually took a Zoom call at court, basically driving a car
from Michigan. Because there's the Corey Harris that went to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it's not that Corey Harris, but the Corey Harris.
I think Kevin and Hendersonville probably had the best one, and we would try to give it to Corey Harris, but I think he's unavailable now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So,
exactly. They told my wife said she heard the story, and I guess they asked him to turn himself in. Well, so let's just say you pull over.
Just drive yourself over.
Yeah, hey, why don't you just bring yourself down to Central Booking, if you will. But wait a minute. But then that would mean making him contribute further to driving on a suspended license or whatever, because by having him drive down to the station. Hey, just stay where we are.
Don't be a ding dong, Corey. Don't go turn yourself in. Don't turn yourself in.
We'll send a unit out there for you. But I thought it was interesting the fact that the NFL Network thought that Roger McCreary might be one of the more underappreciated. Underappreciated, that's a very open discussion, because underappreciated, it's almost in the eye of the beholder. Like if I felt that, let's say Lloyd Cushenberry was underappreciated because he's playing a center position, but playing a new position on a new team, that could be something that we need to pay attention to. Is it going to garner the attention that, say, the big three receivers will? No. Or Will Levis going into year 2? No. J.C. Latham, a first-round rookie? No. But, here's something that could be underappreciated, because he could be a filler for a space that we've needed a filler for a while. Possibly. But also, Ricky on the F&M Bank chat, his response to the question that we asked about the comparison between the Chiefs and the Vols baseball team, he said that the Vols are like the Bengals of college baseball. You thought to agree to that at first.
Yeah, a little bit, but they haven't been to the championship, have they?
Have they ever been into a World Series, Joe?
No.
Sorry to have you double dip.
They've been to the World Series,
but they weren't in the actual championship game. So until they get there, it didn't fail. So I don't know. I think they're still kind of like a team that's promising, but haven't gotten to the big dance. So whatever team you want to correlate that with.
You know who they are? They're the Titans.
Well, we went and we just lost.
And they went and they lost.
Did they?
Yeah. They've been to the series, but they didn't win it. You see, we've been to the show, but we didn't win it.
No, I thought World Series means it's a culmination of teams and then getting to the final.
I'm talking about getting into the World Series, not to Omaha, but getting into the final.
Oh, okay, but I'm talking about the final game.
Yeah.
They haven't been.
They have never been to the final game, so they've just been to Omaha before. Right. Okay, well then that's something different, because if you're always getting to the AFC Championship game, but you never get to the Super Bowl, right? You've lost the AFC Championship game. I mean, I guess there's some consolation to that. Why? Because you obviously have been playing as one of the best teams to beat in the AFC, but what does that mean? I mean, we can still give them that moniker. I mean, it's almost like the Cowboys. Cowboys have been 12-win teams for the last 2 or 3 years or whatever, and next thing you know, we're still talking about them not getting over the hump because we've yet to see them get out of a conference championship. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know what this guy's talking about. Blaine's Twitter's been suspended. That's not true. I don't know what he's talking about. He must be talking about another Blaine. I can't.
What'd you do?
Yeah, what'd you do now, Blaine?
Charles Gordon. I don't know what he's talking about on the chat. Like, what is he talking about?
Did you have a hot take on something? Get suspended?
Oh no, I didn't. No.
Yeah, Thursday.
I don't do hot takes. I just do retweet.
Huh?
That's what Blaine said. He got on Twitter and said, Thursday? What you mean NBA? We got to wait till Thursday.
Yeah.
NBA got mad.
Yeah, the NBA just booted you because you were ticked off about the space between.
Is that what happened?
No, totally kidding. I don't think they're paying that much attention.
No, I knew you can't, because I know my stuff not being suspended. I don't know what he's talking about.
Well,
hey, Charles Gordon, who are you?
So let me ask you this. They said Emmett Jones says the Vols men's baseball team is just like their basketball team. But that could be a good thing too, though, because they got, they kind of got deep into March and were playing well. Got bounced out by Zach Edey and company, and most people did. But they were still in contention. How about that?
Yep.
It's kind of actually where the Vols program is, if you think about it.
A lot of their programs.
Because the football program has put guys in the NFL, and they're challenged for the eastern side of the conference.
Hopefully they make the 12-team playoff.
Just haven't gotten over the hump meaning Georgia or, Bama consistently. And, we've done it, once as of recently, but not on a regular basis. So they're right there on the precipice, right there on the hump. And it kind of can say the same thing about Tony Vitello's boys as they sit and waiting to play the Aces of Evansville, who took down the East Coast Pirates. This is going to be a matchup. First off, that most people think
East Carolina.
that most people think that Vanderbilt will advance right past the Super Regional. And I read last night that they said 67% of regional winners go to Omaha and 70% of Super Regional winners go to Omaha.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think they're playing.
Sounds saucy.
Yeah, think about that, though. I mean, 67%, man. That's not bad.
Yeah. The way they playing, the way them bats are swinging, boy, they look like they hot.
And the way that they're handling this moment. Like you just mentioned in the program earlier, this isn't a team that coming in there with cockiness, but confidence. And there's a difference. Sometimes you can get caught up in cockiness, and it makes you lose sight of some things. But confidence just knows that I know where every step is going. I know every situation that is coming to me, and I can handle that with confidence and focus. That makes sense.
No doubt about it.
It said Blaine Bishop 23 clicked on name suspended for community standards.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's not my account.
That's not your account. That's not you. See, you're so popular, Blaine, that you've got people that are,
I don't know what they're
posing as you.
See, yeah, he went to the wrong. He went to the wrong
Blaine Bishop. That's not the Blaine Bishop that we know.
I don't know what he's talking
different
about,
handle.
bro.
Different handle.
Yeah, man. He got me second guessing what my handle is now. Dang, is that my handle? I'm B Bishop 23.
Hey,
not Blaine Bishop. That's my IG.
Right. That music says that we're about out of here.
Yeah, but we gotta go.
Yeah, but real quick though, Titans minicamps starting tomorrow. We'll probably hear from Brian Callahan at the very beginning of the show because they do tend to take the podium around 1:45, 1 o'clock time between Buck Rising, Lucas Panzica, and us. But we will definitely be checking in at 460 Great Circle Road to see what's going on. So enjoy your evening, guys, and we'll see you same bat time, same bat channel right back here tomorrow. But in the meantime, B.
And in between time. Peace.